Hello, good morning, everyone. It's Erica here from Me to You Paper Crafts. I am sorry I'm a few minutes late. I had yet again some technical difficulties. For whatever reason, my webcam's not working today. And so I tried to do some quick technical investigation, but I wasn't successful. So you won't see my face today, which isn't a bad thing because the main thing is to see what is on my craft desk this morning and what we're going to be doing. So we're doing a really great card layout. I think you're going to love this one because there's lots of variations. And to show you the variations of how to put your designer series paper and your embossing folders together, I'm going to be making 3 cards for you today. Okay. And the stamp set I've decided to use is called Simply Said. It is a new stamp set in our current catalog. And it's a great one because it's just got all the greetings that you could want for just some general cards. So a great one. I always love just a note to say hello. You can put the hello on the inside of the card. Just a note to say thanks. And then you've got birthday wishes here as well. And then you've got happy birthday, thinking of you, let's celebrate, blah, blah, blah. Great greetings in 2 different kinds of fonts. I love this kind of thick scripty font here. It's kind of a fun font. All right, so that's the stamp set we're using today. And this is another one. 2 weeks ago on a Monday, Mojo Monday, I did a punched up card using punches. So again, I'm using punches. So I've pulled out my heartfelt hexagon punch. That's in the current catalog. I've pulled out the modern oval punch. That's also, I should show this side because it shows the punch better. This is called the modern oval punch. And then we have 2 circle punches that were brought back. They were retired, but they've brought them back. 1 3/4 inch punch and a 2-inch circle punch. So depending on how large your greeting is, you have a variety of different punches that you can use. Okay, so the main idea behind this card is you have a card base. So I've done 3 cards here for you. Excuse me. And I've got some measurements to give you. So these are the 3 cards. So basically you can see I've got a card base here, and the card base is a half sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. Now you can either do half the sheet of cardstock vertical, or you could do it horizontal. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. And then I scored it at 5.5, so it makes a 10-fold card portrait, or you could design a card going sideways, of course. Okay. Or you could do a card base that is half a sheet of paper going this way, horizontal. So this is 8.5 by 5 1/4. 5.5, sorry, 8.5 by 5.5. And then you score it at 4 1/4. So again, you can have it portrait or you can have it landscape. Okay, so those are the 2 basic cuts when you're cutting your cardstock. You're either cutting it at 4 1/4 or you're cutting it at 5.5. Okay, so those are your card bases. And then you have options. You've got a layer that you can use with an embossing folder. Okay, and that measures, it's a standard card layer 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So you can use any number of embossing folders just to emboss that piece. Okay, so you can do a coordinating color that goes with your designer series paper, or you could go with just plain white, as you can see on this card here. So it's totally up to you how you want to do your color combinations. Okay, and then you have another layer that is 3 by 4 1/4. So 3 by 4 1/4. And then your designer series paper layer is 2 3/4 by 4. So you're going to layer these 2 together. Okay, so again, your options are you can use this same color cardstock as your card base. As you can see, this is Misty Moonlight. So I've done the same color with the base. Okay, Or, as in this example, I decided to go with boho blue for my card base, and then I did Night of Navy as the smaller rectangle. Okay, so you just pick the colors out of the designer series paper and you can just do whatever you want. You can mix and match them, all depending on the colors in your designer series paper. Okay, and then you could pick any number of embossing folders. So for today's card, I use, now this paper is a returning paper. This paper, oh my gosh, what's it called again? Countryside Corners, I think. No, it's, the paper is called Countryside Inn. Countryside Inn. It's beautiful paper with different blues in it. So you've got Balmy Blue, Boho Blue, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy. So you've got 4 different beautiful blues. And this is the paper. Now it came out, I think, yeah, it came out in our January to April catalog, our spring catalog. So there are some little bunnies on here. So you could use that for, reserve that piece for Easter, or just use the back of the paper. There's some beautiful designs on the back. And so it's rare that Stampin' Up! Brings back a designer series paper, but they did for this one because I think people were just mad about the 4 different blues in this paper. Okay, so there are some beautiful papers in here. So this is returning. So if you wanted to make note of the item number, it's 161467. So as always, when this video is finished, I will put in the description a link to the product list. So you'll have a list of all the products that I've used. Okay. And so that will be included. Now, that set came with a stamp set called Countryside Corners. It was a suite of products. This is the stamp set. Now, this retired. Okay, so we don't have the stamp set available anymore, but they carried over the dies. So here's the dies. So we still have the dies and we still have the paper. The stamp set's not available, but the dies and the paper are still available if you're interested. It also came with an embossing folder called, here it is here, called Countryside Blossoms. That retired as well. But if you bought this suite last year, then go ahead and create with all of it if you want. So what I wanted to show you is an example here, for example. So rather than doing this rectangle design, you could take these dies from this set and put 2 different sizes together and do the cardstock and then do the designer series paper for something a little bit different. Okay, so, and you can do that with any of your dies. So here's an example. I pulled out a bunch of dies that you could use. So if you didn't want to do the rectangle shape, okay, you could swap it up and you could do a combination of these circles. Just make sure that the circles that you use, you can use a punch with it, although you could use any of these circles. So you could do a 3-layered idea with the cardstock, the DSP, and then you could stamp your greeting on top of that. And then you've got, these are kind of fun. These layering dies here are fun. And these are called Thoughtful Expressions. It's part of a bundle or a suite in the new catalog. You could use the deckled rectangles. Those would be fun as well. So if you didn't want to cut the cardstock and the DSP, again, you could just use these. Combination of 2 different sizes. Then we have, these are fun. These are online. They're not in a catalog, but you could use these 2 dies here to create a rectangle, and you've got some stitching around there. That's another idea. So there's lots of choices there as far as what you do with the card. But the basic design is your card base, your first layer, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and then you've got these 2 layers. So one is 3 by 4 1/4. That's your cardstock layer, and the other one is 2 3/4 by 4. Okay, so now I've given you a whole bunch of ideas, and I'm going to be making up some more cards. I will make up a card using these dies here just to show you. And I've got some other ideas. And I've got some ideas for the inside of your card. So while I was cutting my papers, I picked a little strip of each of the designer series papers and then a strip of the coordinating cardstock. And this is what I'm going to put inside my layer inside my card. So the inside layer would be 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to glue these on to the bottom of that to create the inside of my card. I love the inside card to be kind of matchy-matchy. Okay, so let's start putting this together so you know what it looks like, and we'll add a greeting. So I'll leave that one till last. All right, let's do this one. So the colors here, this is Balmy Blue. This is the Countryside Corners embossing folder. So if you did purchase that during our spring catalog, you can go ahead and pull that out and use it. So I'm going to grab my Tombow glue and I'm going to put this onto the card front. So I hope everyone had a great weekend. We had a huge family barbecue here on Saturday, and oh my gosh, it was with a family that we've been in touch with since our daughter, they have 2 daughters and I have the one, but when we were pregnant with them, that's when we met them. We went through prenatal class together, which was a lot of fun. They since had another daughter. But anyway, so we spent tons of Christmases and tons of time together, camping and dinners and all kinds of stuff. And I remember the girls used to sleep over at each other's houses. And so when they came over, oh my gosh, I haven't laughed that hard. Well, I laugh a lot, but I mean, we laughed and laughed and laughed. And the girls were remembering all the times they made tents in the hallways and just had a great time. So it was lots of fun. And then each of the girls brought their significant others, which was fun too. Okay, so I'm just layering on my embossed piece onto the card base and my designer series paper onto that other piece. Okay, and that's it. That's the basic layout for this card design. Really, really simple. Now there's all kinds of other options. At this point in time, you could wrap some ribbon around this one if you like to do the ribbon thing. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm going to do a punched greeting. So I think I'm going to do, and I'm just going to use black, but you could coordinate your ink colors for sure. Oh, you know what? I forgot to re-ink these ink pads. I should have re-inked them. You know what? It's not going to give me a very good image. I'm just going to pop to my ink wall, and I'm just going to grab these 3 different colors of ink. They're all the blues. So Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight, and both are blue. Now, for my ink pads, I store them in color families. So these 3 blues were right in a row. So it makes it easy to color coordinate your colors if you put your stamp pads in your rack or shelf unit by color families. Basically by rainbow colors, right? Okay, so for this one, I'll use Night of Navy because there's Night of Navy in here. And I'm going to use, I think I'll just do Just a Note. Just a Note. It's nice that the sun is out, but oh my gosh, it's still so, excuse me, it's just so windy still here in Victoria. Luckily, when we had our barbecue, the wind died down. It was windy in the morning, but the wind did die down. So we were able to stay outside, but oh my goodness. Okay, now we need some plain white cardstock. And I'm going to Now, this is a photopolymer stamp set, which I love because you can see where you're stamping. Typically, we always say to stamp and then punch, but because they're clear, I can just go ahead and punch my circle first because I don't want to waste paper. So I'm just going to punch it right here. Okay, and then I'm going to throw in, there we go, just a note. Now, other things I like to do when I do images like this is if you've got a coordinating stamp set going on, you could stamp a bit of a background on there. Okay, so there's my stamped images, just a note. Now, if you wanted to, you could layer these together. So that was a 1 3/4 inch punch. So I could do a background 2 inches, but I kind of just want the white because it would cover up too much of my designer series paper. And then this one I'm going to stick up on dimensionals. So let me grab my dimensionals here. Plus, another idea, what is fun to do too, is if you have any punches that have like sprigs, leaves or sprigs, you can tuck them behind this. Now, I don't think I glued this on here yet. I haven't glued this yet. So let's make sure my card's opening the right way. And then we'll stick this on here like this. I noticed I didn't get my designer series paper on very well, centered there. But it will have to do. Okay, and then I've got my just a note. I'm going to stick right in the center. Okay, there you go. There's your simple card layout. Now you could add some embellishments on there. You could add a little bow at the bottom. You could tuck in some sprigs. So you can make it. I wanted to show you this simple layout, but you can certainly, dress it up. Okay, so if I was to do the inside of this card, I'm going to grab 4 by 5. I'm sure this is 4 by 5 1/4. Yes, 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to pick up that same pattern and I'm going to glue this on the bottom. Let me grab my silicone sheet. I just cleaned my glass mat. I somehow got glue all over it. I'm trying to get as much glue out of this bottle as I can because it's almost out. Whoops, I better put my birds the right way. Sometimes I go right to the bottom and other times I leave a little bit of white space. And you know what? That looks like I cut that crooked. No, that's not the color I want. I want the blue. I'm matching my strips with my card base. I love using my Tombow glue because you can slide things around. And I'm just going to trim this off a little bit. There we go. Okay, so there we've got that for the inside of our card. Just grab my tape runner here. And let's put this on the inside of the card. So again, if you have a coordinating stamp set that you're using, you could stamp an image in here as well, or instead of the strips of paper. So there you go. there's one quick card. Okay, so this design has the cardstock pieces matching in color. Okay, so that's one card. Okay, let's do up this next card, which doesn't match up the cardstock. I decided to go with the boho blue cardstock. Then I've got another embossing folder. This is called Exposed Brick. You can see that. It's kind of like an old brick building where some of the bricks have fallen off. It's really kind of a cool embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to put that on. Okay, I think I have to go to another bottle. This is pretty well empty. Okay, there's our first layer. And then I'm going to glue this layer on here. Let's see if I can't center that better than the last piece. That looks better. And then this piece goes on here. So if I wanted to embellish this one a little bit more, we have this wonderful Night of Navy ribbon that has some gold sparkle on it. So I could put some of this on here and then put my punched image on top. This doesn't tie the best bow. And I might go with, first of all, before I do that, let's figure out what punch I want to use or what greeting. Let's do Birthday Wishes now. So Birthday Wishes is a little bit of a bigger stamp. Okay, so I could go to the larger circle punch, and then the ribbon will show underneath it. So let's grab, don't ask me what's wrong with my voice this morning. Well, as you probably know, I don't do much talking in the morning because my husband's whipped off to work pretty early, so I don't get a chance to talk much with him. What did I do with that white scrap piece? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to do the larger punch, the 2-inch punch this time because it's a wider. You know what? I think I'm going to punch that out. Let's use a different. I'm going to use maybe the Night of. I already used Night of Navy. Let's use a different color. Let's do Misty Moonlight. There we go. Birthday Wish. Oh, look how nicely that's stamped. When your ink pads are really well inked, you have much better success. Okay, let's put some dimensionals on here. Now, I'm going to tie ribbon around, so I want a dimensional top and bottom, and then it'll straddle the ribbon. Okay, so that's ready. So now let's do our ribbon. So when I do my ribbon, the first thing I do is I put some tape on here so that I can wrap the ribbon around to the back. Okay, so I'm going to figure out where this, pretty well where the center is. I'm just going to guess. That looks pretty well centered. I'm going to wrap that around the back. Okay, grab my scissors. Now, I do like to secure the ribbon with some Scotch tape. My Scotch tape has just ended. I brought another roll down to refill that today. Okay, and then I'm going to just stick a bit more tape on here and secure this to my card base. You see already the ribbon is giving it a bit of a pop. And when you're doing your cutting, because it's a rectangle, watch the orientation of your paper. You don't want to have the pattern the wrong way. And then I'm going to throw birthday wishes right on top of that. Okay, and there's card number 2. So card number 1, really, really simple. Now, the type of crafter that I am, I need some bling on here. So I'm going to probably pull out some gemstones or something to just add something in this circle. You may not like all that white space. So my ideas of stamping a bit of a design in the background, just stamp off the ink so you get a lighter version of the ink would be good. But there you go. This has got 2 different colored cardstocks, and this is the same. Okay. And then the last one is this one here. So those were the measurements. And again, I will, now this time, instead of doing the white background, I decided to pick one of the other blues. So the white makes it quite bright, but the blue is a nice choice as well. So I'm going to glue this on. And this is one of our newer embossing folders. I think it's called, I better not guess. I have it here somewhere. Dashing Designs is the name of this one. Dashing Designs. Okay. And then I'm using the same color for this one. Now, this paper, Countryside in paper, it's got beautiful designs on the back as well. Okay, so there's this one. Okay, and then let's use, this is the Heartfelt Hexagon punch. I'm going to punch it out. And the other option too, don't forget, you don't have to punch, you don't have to be stamping on white all the time. You could pick another one of the blues out of here. You could take this blue, Misty Moonlight, and punch and stamp on blue. You don't have to do it on white. We sometimes get stuck in the same way of doing things all the time. And it's when you do, you know, you might feel uncomfortable doing something different, but you definitely need to try it out because you'll be pleasantly surprised often. Okay, so I've got Just a Note, Birthday Wishes, and let's do a thanks. No, let's do Thinking of You. Thinking of You. So this is a fast, and so once you've got all of your pieces cut, you could do 3 cards and then you could put it in a nice little box and give it as a gift. Right? Okay, let's change up the color. Let's do this color. So I've used my 3 different blue inks. Again, getting away from black. And this Yeah, this stamp set that's retired, it didn't really have it didn't have any additional stamps on it. But if I wanted to add something to here, let's just show you where you can create a bit of a background. It's one large stamp here, and the dies were meant to cut it all out. So let's give this a thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this right onto my grid sheet here. And I'm going to ink it up. Like so. Not that I'm using the whole stamp. Okay, then I'm going to lay this punch. Just trying to get it centered. Don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try it. And if you grab a scrap piece of paper, I could just do that. I hope I didn't smudge it. Nope, that looks okay. Let's see. Was there a smaller greeting? I could have put... I was thinking of trying to match up a greeting in this box, but this isn't really well centered, so this is not working out like I thought. But what I could do is, let me just see, I'm going to experiment here. What if I took this 1 3/4 inch punch and cut this out, and then I don't think Thinking of You will fit on there. Yes, it will. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up. Let's just see if I'm trying to combine 2 punches. Let's just do Thinking of You. I'm just doing what we call stepping it up. I think that will work. So let's put some dimensionals on here. Love the way I keep losing my dimensionals. Let's snip a couple of these. Sorry, ladies, I'm just seeing who's on. Carol, good morning. And Christine. That is such a great embossing folder, one of your favorites. Which one, Christine? Since I didn't catch your comment at the time. Now let's get this out of the way. I think you might be referring to the exposed brick. Okay, let's put this on the card first. So let's glue this piece down. Okay, and then we're going to glue this straight on. And then we're going to pop our greeting on top. There you go. So there's another option. Okay, so there are your 3 cards with this simple card layout. And I'm going to dress these up a little bit. I'll post some photos so you can see. But there you go. Pretty quick and easy. Dashing Designs, but exposed brick. Yeah, Dashing Designs. That's one of our newer ones. Yes, I love it. And if you looked at it from 2 sides, I love both sides of it. After you've embossed it, it's great. Dashing Designs. This is it here. This is the card. I used it on the blue. So you can reverse it, and it looks great. But there you go. There's your 3 card options. So as I said, if you check back later, you'll find the measurements, and I'll post some pictures. Thanks for joining me this morning, ladies. I hope you'll go ahead and make some of these cards. I'll review the measurements with you one more time, okay? You got your regular card base, and then this background piece is 4 by 5 1/4. That's your typical card layer, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then this cardstock piece here, this layering piece, is 3 by 4 1/4. And then your DSP is 2 3/4 by 4. Okay, so I'll post those in the description for you. Thank you so much for watching. We're almost at the end of June. So remember that bundles, all of our bundles, which you save 10% on normally, they're also on for an additional 10%. So if you go to my online store and just look up bundles, you'll be able to see they're all on sale. Okay, so if you're interested in any of those, now's the time to get them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back on Thursday night with Case the Catty. Thanks, ladies, and hopefully I'll have worked out all my technical issues. Last week I had technical issues too. I don't know what is going on, but I will figure them out. Thanks again. Have a super, super day. Bye.